Hi, me again. And today's video we're going to have a look at linking data. And this actually becomes really important. I'm going to start off with the very basics and then we're going to move on to some slightly more advanced concepts. Okay, so here we are in Excel and I'm going to type my name into a cell. Now the first part of this, we need to understand that there are two different things in every cell. The first is the data and the second is how it's displayed. Now, we sometimes refer to this as formatting, but it's important to understand there are two different things. So, for example, if I apply some text formatting to that cell, that does not affect the data. The data that is in that cell is still just the text that I've typed in, which is my name. And I can demonstrate this by linking another cell to the data within that cell. And now if this text here changes as soon as I press enter, the linked cell will also update. Now this is very useful. Now it doesn't just work here within a sheet. Clearly I can make another sheet and also link a cell here, and I just say equals, and now I refer back to the original sheet, click on the source cell, and when I press enter, it now links the data. And again, if I change this data here, it not only updates on this sheet, it also updates on the other sheet. Okay, if you just have a look up here, you'll see that this cell, which is linking back to the source, refers to the source by the sheet name, which is followed by an exclamation mark, and then the cell reference. Now you'll notice this cell reference is relative, and what that lets me do is, if here I have some other data from this cell here, if I simply drag down, I will refer to that other data as well. Alternately, if I make that locked by doing F4, if I now drag it down, this cell also refers to the same cell that that one is referring to, because the cell reference is locked. Sometimes you might want to do one, sometimes you might want to do the other. In this instance, I'm going to leave it as relative, in other words, unlocked, if I manage to press that right. So there we go, it is now relative again. Okay, you'll notice that by linking, we're simply linking to the data, we're not linking to the formatting in any way. Clearly there are other ways that I can use to copy or to show the formatting. I can link it to a picture, which will always update based upon the formatting here, or I can simply use the format painter to copy the formatting across to where I want. I'm not going to do that in this instance. So far what we've seen is we've seen how we can copy data within a sheet or from another sheet, and we've looked at the relative and absolute referencing. I've gone back to sheet 1 here. I'm now going to do Control N, which makes a brand new workbook, not just a new sheet, but a new workbook. From this workbook, I'm now going to refer back to my source data. So I'll just click over here. I'm going to say equals. And now, rather than looking at the sheets down here, I actually look down here on my taskbar and I go back to my source data and click on that first cell and press enter. Now what you mustn't do here is go back to the book you're working in. You must stay here and simply press enter. You'll notice now it refers to the file name of the data it's referring to, and the sheet name, and the cell reference. Now one other thing is here, because I'm referring to an external source, the default is that it's an absolute reference. So what this means is if I then fill that downwards, it refers to the same data. Now of course what I can do is simply go into there, F4 3 times, make it relative, and now as I drag it down, it now refers to the cell below that one in the source file. I think the reason for this is because actually your source file, if it's in an external file, is rarely the same structure as the file that you're pasting into. So it's to avoid some complications to do with that. Sometimes you want one, sometimes you want the other. Okay, what happens when I close this file down? Okay, not the file that I've got the data in, but the source file. I'm going to save that file and close it. Now I've only got the one file open, but when I look here now, it not only refers to the file name, but it also refers to the path where that file is saved. How does that help me? Well, let me just save this file here. So I'm going to save this one as summary. And I should have just done F12 there. Makes it much easier to save a file. Okay, this one's called summary. And now I'm going to close this one as well. Okay, if we look back on my desktop, I've got a couple of files here. I've got source data, which was the original one, and I've got summary. Neither of them is open at the moment. So if I go back to Excel, the one I'm going to open is my source data. Now in my source data, it's got my name here at the moment. So I'm going to change this. So it says Joe Blogs, and you'll notice that it has updated here and it's updated on the other sheet. I'm simply now going to close and save. Now I'm going to open the other file, which is my summary data. And if we have a look here, it hasn't updated. But what we have got instead is we've got a security warning telling me that updating links has been disabled. But if I say enable, immediately in the background, Excel opens that file, the source file, looks at the data there, and pastes the data in where I've told it to. Okay, that's all we've got for this video. I hope it's been useful. The next video, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at how we can link to live data feeds on the internet. I hope it's been useful, and thank you for listening.